I'm telling you, Octopussy, WAP, it's all the same. It fits right in. Watch, watch, watch. For that Octopussy. See, it fits. Now, my father, God rest his soul, was like an old school 007 fan. He liked the ones with Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton. Me, I was more new school. I liked the ones with Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig. Now, as much as I loved Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, Daniel Craig, I felt like brought a more realness, more grittiness to the role, and he was my favorite James Bond. So it's sad to me to find out that this next one will probably be his last one, but there is a ray of hope. They say that Tom Hardy will be assuming the role, so let's see what kind of nuance he brings to the character. So I decided that today we're going to do all of the James Bond movies. We're going to let you know when they were made, who played James Bond in that movie. I don't know why I can't talk. And also, too, who the director was. And we wouldn't be SEM if we didn't let you know what it did in the box office. If you like what we're doing on this channel and you want more videos like this, subscribe. Click that bell notification. You'll know when the video comes out. Now, where's my vodka martini? Shaken, not stirred. I can never be James Bond. Besides, to be James Bond, you gotta have a British accent. Let's face it, I don't have a good American accent, and I'm American. Before we get into our list, we got this information from Wikipedia. Now, you guys need to let me know if Wikipedia started using that as like their advertisement slogan or something like that. Let's see how it feels for somebody else to get a copyright claim. Now, I'm sorry for rambling, people, but sometimes you just have to vent. Our first James Bond movie was Dr. No. It was made back in 1962. It starred Sir Sean Connery as James Bond. The director was Terrence Young. It did $59.5 million in the box office. Dr. No.
That's a Dom Perignon 55. It would be a pity to break it.
I prefer the 53 myself.
And next we have From Russia with Love, made back in 1963. Again, it has Sean Connery as James Bond. The director again was Terrence Young. It did $78.9 million in the box office. From Russia with Love.
I'd say one of the aircraft is missing.
And next we have Goldfinger, made back in 1964. It still has Sean Connery as James Bond. The director is different. This time it was Guy Hamilton. It did $124.9 million in the box office, and it was the first time James Bond said,
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
See, he just says it so cool. Goldfinger. And now that brings us to Thunderball, made back in 1965. Again, it stars Sean Connery as James Bond. They brought back Terrence Young as the director, and it did $141.2 million. Thunderball.
Something pretty big. Every 00 man in Europe's been rushed in, and the Home Secretary, too.
So he's probably lost a dog.
So for these next two, James Bond got a little bit confusing. Now, Eon Productions, they are like the official James Bond movie productions. They've made the first four that I just mentioned, and they eventually got the exclusive rights to the novel, so they're the only ones to make James Bond movies. But back in 1967, that wasn't the case. Now, they made the movie You Only Live Twice. It starred Sean Connery again as James Bond. The director was Louis Gilbert, and it did $111.6 million. You Only Live Twice.
Cheers. Siamese vodka.
Now, Casino Royale was also made back in 1967. This time, Bond was played by David Niven. There's like 6 directors listed on here, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's like 6 of them. The movie did $44.4 million in the box office. Casino Royale.
We need an AFSD.
Sir?
Anti-female spy device. We find the one man all women want, and then we train him not to want women.
The next James Bond film was On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It was made back in 1969. It starred George Lazenby as James Bond. Peter R. Hunt was its director. It did $64.6 million in the box office. It was obviously missing Sean Connery. On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Never mind that. Go and get the brandy, huh? 5-star Hennessy, of course.
The next film was Diamonds Are Forever. Made back in 1971, they brought back Sean Connery as James Bond. Guy Hamilton was the director, and it did $116 million in the box office. I told you those were missing Sean Connery. Diamonds Are Forever.
Where the hell is White?
I haven't found out yet. Still haven't found out.
The next film was Live and Let Die, made back in 1973. This time, James Bond was played by Roger Moore. The director is still Guy Hamilton, and it did $126.4 million. Live and Let Die.
Nothing about my future? Us? Now, promise you'll stay right there. I shan't be long.
And the next James Bond film was The Man with the Golden Gun. Side story. Back when I was in the military, me and my friends, because it was a while ago, used to play Nintendo 64, and we used to play James Bond. We used to get together, hook it up to the TV, play James Bond. And our favorite thing to play against each other was to use a golden gun, because it was like a one-shot, one-kill thing. I know, I kind of got off track. It was made back in 1974. It still stars Roger Moore as James Bond. They brought back the same director, Guy Hamilton, and it did $97.6 million. The Man with the Golden Gun.
Ready?
Are you ready, Monsieur Bond?
Ready?
The next film was The Spy Who Loved Me. For some reason, every time I say that, I just hear,
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
This was made back in 1977. Again, it has Roger Moore as James Bond. Lewis Gilbert was brought back to be the director, and it did $185.4 million in the box office. The Spy Who Loved Me.
But James, I need you.
So does England.
Our next James Bond film was Moonraker, made back in 1979. Again, it stars Roger Moore as James Bond. Lewis Gilbert was brought back as the director, and it did $210.3 million in the box office. Moonraker.
Allow me. Take a giant step for mankind.
The next film was For Your Eyes Only, made back in 1981. Again, it stars Roger Moore as James Bond. John Glenn was the director, and it did $194.9 million in the box office. For Your Eyes Only.
Take the low road. Not that low.
And our next James Bond film is Octopussy. Nah, that doesn't sound vulgar at all, does it? I mean, people raise a fuss about WAP when back then they had a movie called Octopussy with a actress who played the role of Pussy Galore. I mean, what are we complaining about? I'm telling you, Octopussy, WAP, it's all the same. It fits right in. Watch. For that Octopussy. See, it fits. It was made back in 1983, and again, they brought in Roger Moore to play James Bond, and also they brought back John Glenn as a director, and it did $183.7 million. Octopussy.
Gracias, querido.
I'll see you in Miami.
So 1983 was like 1967, where we had two, here we go, James Bond movies. The first one was made by Eon Productions, which was Octopussy. The second one was made by a third-party film company, And the film was called Never Say Never Again. Now, what they did was they brought back Sean Connery. The director was Ian Clijsters, and it did $160 million in the box office. Never Say Never Again.
Fine progress.
Oh, yes.
But I must say, you're looking a bit peaked this morning.
I was up all night.
Don't overdo it. A herbal enema should fix you up.
Thank you. Sounds terrific.
Our next James Bond film was A View to a Kill. Made back in 1985, it will star Roger Moore as James Bond. This will be his last one. They brought back John Glenn as a director, and it did $152.4 million. A View to a Kill.
Mission accomplished?
Best beluga, vodka, rather shaken, and one microchip.
The next James Bond film was The Living Daylights. Made back in 1987. That's the year my girlfriend was born. It stars Timothy Dalton as James Bond, and they brought back John Glenn as a director. It did $191.2 million. The Living Daylights.
I could find a real man.
I need to use your phone. She'll call you back.
Who are you?
Bond, James Bond.
Now, the next James Bond film was A License to Kill. That's a cool ass name for a movie. It was made back in 1989. It stars Timothy Dalton again as James Bond. They brought back John Glenn as a director, and it did $156.2 million in the box office. A License to Kill.
He'll be in Cuban airspace in 20 minutes.
He hasn't got away yet.
What the hell are you doing?
Let's go fishing.
Now, our next James Bond film is one I started watching. It was GoldenEye, made back in 1995. It stars Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, and the director was Martin Campbell. It did $352 million in the box office. GoldenEye.
It appears we share the same passions. 3, anyway.
The next James Bond film is Tomorrow Never Dies. Made back in 1997, it stars again Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. The director was Roger Spottiswoode, and it did $333 million in the box office. Tomorrow Never Dies.
Filthy habit.
The next James Bond film is The World Is Not Enough. Made back in 1999. Again, it stars Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. Michael Apton was the director, and it did $361.8 million in the box office. The World Is Not Enough.
They're sealing us in. Who are you?
I work for the British government.
And then that brings us to Die Another Day, made back in 2002. Again, it stars Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. The director was Lee Tamahori. Hope I pronounced that right. It did $432 million in the box office. Die Another Day.
Don't blow it all at once.
Oh.
This one was probably my favorite James Bond movie ever. Casino Royale, made back in 2006. It stars Daniel Craig as James Bond. They brought back Martin Campbell as a director, and it did $594.2 million. Casino Royale.
I'm the money.
Every penny of it.
Then we have Quantum of Solace, made back in 2008. Again, it stars Daniel Craig as James Bond. Mark Foster was the director, and it did $586.1 million. Quantum of Solace.
It's time to get out.
And that brings us to Skyfall, made back in 2012. Again, it stars Daniel Craig as James Bond. Sam Mendes is the director, and it did $1,108.6 million in the box office. Skyfall.
I win. What do you say to that?
It's a waste of good scotch.
And that brings us to Spectre, made back in 2015. Again, it stars Daniel Craig as James Bond. They brought back Shawn Mendes as director, and it did $880.7 million in the box office. Spectre.
Can I get you something, sir?
Vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
I'm sorry, we don't serve alcohol.
I'm really starting to love this place.
And for our last film, we have No Time to Die. It's going to be coming out November 20th, 2020. It will star Daniel Craig again as James Bond. Cary Joji Fukunaga is the director. Obviously, it hasn't been released, so we don't have any box office information yet. No Time to Die. And that is our list. So who is your favorite James Bond? Like I said, mine is Daniel Craig. Please let me know in the comments. And also, let me know if you guys want me to do a Bond girl top 10 list. Please let me know in the comments. In saying that, if you are new here to SEM, please hit the subscribe button, become part of this SEM Nation. Once you become part of this nation, you get that bell notification. You'll know when a video comes out. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. My name is Dorian. This is SEM. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. And you guys have a good day.
Who doesn't appreciate the occasional twist, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.